Hello and welcome back to English in Advance. I am your host, Jessica, and I am so happy you have decided to join me today for a session that might just change the way you feel about speaking English. Today we are going to slow things down. We are going to take a deep breath and we are going to focus on a topic that is close to the heart of almost every English learner I have ever met. We are talking about how to speak English smoothly without stress. This is a daily fluency training session designed specifically for you if you are at an intermediate level and you want to bridge that gap to becoming truly comfortable and confident. You are in the right place and you are doing exactly what you need to do to improve. Let us be honest for a moment about what it feels like to speak a second language. You know the grammar rules. You can read a book or an article and understand most of it. You can listen to me right now and follow along perfectly. But then the moment comes when you have to speak. Maybe a colleague asks you a question in a meeting, or a stranger asks for directions, or you just want to tell a story to a friend. Suddenly your heart starts beating faster. Your palms might get a little sweaty. The words that were so clear in your mind a moment ago seem to disappear. You feel a pressure to speak fast because you think that speed equals fluency. Today I want to tell you that this stress is the biggest wall standing between you and your English goals. The good news is that we can break down that wall together right now. Fluency is not about how fast you can talk. Fluency is about flow. Think of a river. A river does not always rush. Sometimes it moves slowly and calmly, but it keeps moving forward. It connects one part of the land to another without stopping. That is how I want you to imagine your English today. We are going to practice removing the rush and finding your rhythm. When you rush, you create tension in your body and your mind. That tension blocks your memory. It makes it harder to access the vocabulary you already know. So the first rule of speaking smoothly is to give yourself permission to slow down. When you slow down, you give your brain the time it needs to find the right word, and you give your mouth the time it needs to form the sounds clearly. Let us try something together. I want you to listen to a sentence and notice how I say it. Listen to the rhythm. I am going to say, I have been working on this project for 3 days. Notice that I did not say every word with the same strength. I did not say, I have been working on this project. That sounds like a robot. Instead, I glided over the small grammar words and I stressed the important information words. I stressed working, project, and 3 days. The sentence flows like a wave. I have been working on this project for 3 days. Now I want you to try to say that in your head or out loud if you can. Do not worry about speed. Just worry about connecting the words. I have been working. Notice how the words have and been almost blend together. I have been working. This is called connected speech, and it is the secret to sounding smooth. Many students stress themselves out because they try to pronounce every single letter perfectly. But native speakers do not do that. We are actually quite lazy with our sounds. We link the end of one word to the beginning of the next word. This makes speaking easier physically. It requires less effort from your jaw and your tongue. Let us look at another example to practice this relaxation. Think about the phrase, "What are you doing?" If you read that from a textbook, you might try to pronounce every distinct sound. What are you doing? But that feels choppy and difficult. In natural, smooth English, we connect the sounds. It sounds more like, "What are you doing?" The T in what changes to a soft D sound and connects to the A in R. The words flow together into one long sound. Try to feel that flow. What are you doing? When you realize that you do not have to be perfect with every letter, you can relax. You can stop judging yourself while you speak. Stress often comes from a fear of making mistakes. We have this idea that if we make a grammar mistake, people will judge us or they will not understand us. But the truth is that communication is much more important than perfection. If you say he go to the store yesterday instead of he went to the store yesterday, people still understand you. The message is clear. Of course, we want to improve our grammar over time, but worrying about it while you are speaking actually causes more mistakes. It is a cycle. You worry, so you get stressed. You get stressed, so your brain freezes. Your brain freezes, so you make a mistake. Then you worry more. We need to break that cycle. The way to break it is to accept that mistakes are a natural and necessary part of learning. Every mistake you make is proof that you are trying. Let us practice expanding your comfort zone with some longer thoughts. Imagine you want to describe your weekend. A stressful way to do this is to translate every word from your native language in your head before you speak. That takes too much energy. Instead, I want you to think in chunks or phrases. A chunk is a group of words that naturally go together. For example, on the weekend is a chunk. I went to the park is a chunk. With my friends is a chunk. When you speak in chunks, you only have to think about 3 things instead of 10 individual words. It makes the process much smoother. Let us put those chunks together. On the weekend, I went to the park with my friends. Hear how smooth that sounds. There is a small pause between the chunks, but the flow continues. On the weekend, I went to the park with my friends. Practice this with me now. I will give you the first chunk. To be honest, now you add a thought. Maybe you think I am tired. So the sentence becomes, to be honest, I am tired. Now let us add a reason using another chunk. Because of work. Put it all together. To be honest, I am tired because of work. By building your sentences like Lego bricks, using these chunks, you reduce the cognitive load on your brain. You are not building a wall from scratch with sand. You are using pre-made bricks. This leaves you with more mental energy to focus on your pronunciation and your intonation. Intonation is the music of the language. It is how your voice goes up and down. If you speak in a flat, monotone voice, it can sound like you are bored or robotic. But if you use natural intonation, you sound engaged and fluent even if your grammar is simple. Generally in English, our voice goes down at the end of a statement and up at the end of a question. Let us practice that. Listen to this statement. It is a beautiful day. My voice goes down at the end on the word day. It signals that I am finished with my thought. It is a beautiful day. Now imagine asking it as a question. Is it a beautiful day? My voice rises up at the end. Getting comfortable with this melody helps you feel more like yourself when you speak English. It helps you express your personality. Another major source of stress is the feeling that you have to use complex vocabulary to sound smart. Intermediate learners often memorize long, difficult lists of words like magnificent or convoluted or enthusiastic. While these are great words to know, you do not need them to be fluent. In fact, trying to force big words into your sentences can make you sound unnatural and can cause you to stumble. Some of the most powerful speakers in the world use simple, clear language. They use phrasal verbs and common collocations. Instead of trying to find the word magnificent, just say great or wonderful. Instead of saying, I am enthusiastic about this, just say, I am excited. Simple is smooth, simple is strong. When you simplify your vocabulary, you remove the pressure. to search your brain for that one difficult word you learned 3 months ago. You can just speak. Let us talk about the physical sensation of speaking. Sometimes stress lives in our bodies. You might find that your shoulders are up by your ears or your jaw is tight. Before you start a conversation or a practice session, take a moment to check your body. Drop your shoulders. Loosen your jaw. Take a deep breath into your belly. When your body is relaxed, your voice comes out richer and clearer. When you are tight, your voice gets thin and shaky. Breathing is actually a very important part of fluency. If you run out of air, you have to stop in the middle of a sentence, and that breaks your flow. Try to breathe at the punctuation marks. Breathe at the commas and the periods. Let us try a breathing exercise with a long sentence. Listen to this sentence first. Even though it was raining heavily, we decided to go for a walk because we needed some fresh air. That is a long sentence. If I try to say it all in one breath, I might rush the end. So let us break it up with breath. Even though it was raining heavily, pause and breathe, we decided to go for a walk, pause and breathe, because we needed some fresh air. Those pauses do not make you sound bad. They make you sound thoughtful. They give the listener time to process what you said. Silence is not your enemy. Many learners are terrified of silence. They think that if they stop talking for 1 second, they have failed. But native speakers pause all the time. We pause to think. We pause to emphasize a point. We pause to breathe. So embrace the pause. Use it to gather your thoughts. Now I want to address the internal monologue, that voice in your head that tells you your English is not good enough. That voice is a liar. You have worked hard to get to where you are. You understand so much. You have vocabulary and grammar knowledge that allows you to connect with millions of people around the world. You need to be your own best friend when you speak. Instead of thinking about what you cannot do, focus on what you can do. If you cannot remember a specific word, describe it. If you forget the word for umbrella, you can say the thing you use to keep rain off you. That is fluency. Fluency is the ability to navigate around obstacles, not the ability to remove them completely. Being able to describe a word you forgot is actually a very advanced skill. It keeps the conversation going. Let us practice this skill of describing or circumlocution. Imagine you forget the word for kitchen. Do not panic and stop. Just think about what happens in a kitchen. You could say the room where we cook food, or the place where the fridge is. The listener will understand you immediately, and they might even supply the word for you. This keeps the interaction smooth and stress-free. It turns a potential block into a moment of connection. You are working together with the listener to build understanding. Another great way to reduce stress is to prepare for common situations. If you know you have to go to the doctor or to a restaurant or to a meeting, you can practice the specific phrases you might need beforehand. This is not memorizing a script, but rather familiarizing yourself with the likely patterns. For example, at a restaurant, the waiter will ask what you want to drink and what you want to eat. You can practice saying, "I would like the water, please," or "I will have the chicken." When you have these small, automatic phrases ready, it gives you a confidence boost. It is like having money in the bank. You can handle the basics, so you feel more free to improvise the rest. Listening is also a huge part of speaking smoothly. This might sound strange, but the more you listen to natural English, the better you will speak. This is because your brain is absorbing the patterns, the rhythm, and the chunks we talked about earlier. By listening to this podcast, you are doing the best possible thing for your speaking. You are training your ear to hear how words connect. You are internalizing the melody of the language. When you speak, you are simply reproducing what you have heard. So keep listening. Listen to podcasts, listen to news, listen to interviews, and do not just listen passively. Listen actively. Pay attention to how the speaker pauses. Pay attention to how they use their voice to show emotion. Try to shadow them. Shadowing is when you repeat what the speaker says immediately after they say it. It is like singing along to a song. It helps your mouth get used to the movements of English. Let us try a little shadowing right now. I will say a phrase and I want you to repeat it exactly as I do. Mimic my speed and my tone. Here we go. It turns out that learning English is fun. Now you try. It turns out that learning English is fun. Did you notice the phrase "it turns out"? That is a great chunk. Let us try another one. I am looking forward to seeing you. Now you say it. I am looking forward to seeing you. Feel how the words "looking forward" connect. Practice this whenever you can. You can do it while you are washing the dishes or driving your car. No one has to hear you. It is a safe space to experiment with your voice. I want to talk about the concept of the plateau. Many B1 and B2 learners feel like they are stuck. They feel like they are learning and learning, but not getting any better. This is completely normal. When you are a beginner, every new word feels like huge progress. But at the intermediate level, progress is more subtle. It is about refining what you know. It is about deepening your understanding. It is about becoming more comfortable. Do not get discouraged by the plateau. It is actually a sign that you are consolidating your knowledge. You are building a solid foundation. Just keep showing up every day. Consistency is the key. 10 minutes of practice every day is much better than 2 hours once a week. Your brain needs that daily exposure to keep the neural pathways strong. Let us integrate some storytelling into our practice. Stories are how humans communicate. We tell stories about our day, about our past, about our dreams. When you tell a story, you are practicing past tenses and descriptive words and sequencing. Let us practice a simple narrative structure. First, then, and finally. This structure helps you organize your thoughts so you do not get lost. Let us tell a simple story about a morning routine. First, I woke up and brushed my teeth. Then I went to the kitchen to make coffee. Finally, I sat down to read the news. See how simple that is. The words first, then, and finally act like signposts. They tell the listener where you are in the story. They also give you a moment to think about what comes next. You can use this for anything. Describing a project at work, explaining how to cook a recipe, telling a friend about your vacation. Structure brings safety, and safety reduces stress. Let us go deeper into the idea of linking sounds, because this really is the magic key to smooth English. There are different ways sounds link. One common way is when a word ends in a consonant and the next word starts with a vowel. For example, look at the phrase turn on. The N in turn connects to the O in on. It sounds like turn on. Turn on. Try saying, please turn on the light. It flows much better than please turn on the light. Another type of linking is when two similar sounds meet, like in the phrase red dress. The first word ends in D and the second starts with D. We do not say both distinct Ds, we just say one long D sound, redress, or black cat. We do not say black cat, we say black cat. This makes speaking so much less tiring. You are doing less work but sounding better. It is efficient. Now consider the emotional aspect of language learning. English is not just a code to be cracked. It is a way to express who you are. When you feel stressed, you are often hiding your true personality. You become a quieter, more serious version of yourself. I want you to try to bring your real personality into your English. If you are a funny person, try to make jokes in English even if they are simple. If you are a kind person, use kind words. Do not let the language barrier strip away your identity. When you feel like yourself, you will relax. And when you relax, you will speak smoothly. It is okay to say, "I am sorry, I do not know how to say this in English, but I will try." People appreciate honesty. They appreciate vulnerability. It connects us. Let us imagine a scenario where you are in a conversation and you completely lose your train of thought. Your mind goes blank. This is the nightmare scenario for many students, but it happens to native speakers too. It happens to me. When this happens, do not freeze. Use a filler phrase. You can say, "Let me think about that for a second," or "What was I saying?" or simply, "I lost my words." These phrases buy you time. They keep the channel of communication open. They show that you are still present in the conversation, you just need a moment. Using these fillers sounds very natural. It sounds much better than a long, uncomfortable silence. So add these to your toolkit. Let me see. Actually, these are small words, but they act like glue holding your speech together while your brain catches up. I want to encourage you to record yourself. I know most people hate the sound of their own voice. It can be cringe-worthy. But recording yourself is one of the fastest ways to improve. Record yourself speaking for 1 minute about a topic. Then listen to it. Do not listen to criticize. Listen to analyze. Notice where you paused. Notice where you rushed. Notice if you can hear the linking sounds we talked about. Maybe you realize you said too many times. That is okay. Next time, try to replace with a breath. You are your own best teacher because you know how you feel when you speak. By listening from the outside, you gain a new perspective. You can track your progress over weeks and months. You will be amazed at how much you improve if you do this regularly. Think about the environment where you practice. Is it stressful? Do you only speak English when you are under pressure? Try to create positive associations with English. Speak English when you are happy. Speak English when you are relaxing. Watch a movie you love in English. Cook a meal using an English recipe. When your brain associates English with pleasure instead of testing or judgment, the stress levels naturally go down. You begin to look forward to using the language. It becomes a hobby rather than a chore. Let us return to the idea of B1 and B2 levels. At this stage, you are an independent user. That means you can handle most situations on your own. You should be proud of that. You have already climbed a huge mountain. Now you are just learning how to walk comfortably on the summit. The grammar you have is enough. The vocabulary you have is enough. The goal now is activation. Activation means taking what is in your passive memory and moving it to your active memory. The only way to do this is through use. You have to use the words to own them. If you learn a new word today, try to use it 3 times in sentences before you sleep. Talk to your dog. Talk to the mirror. Write it in a journal. Make it yours. Let us practice some more connected speech with a focus on question words. Questions are very common in daily conversation. Look at the phrase, "Where did you go?" In fast speech, the D-eyed and you blend together. It sounds like "Where DJ go?" "Where DJ go?" or "What did you do?" Sounds like what'd do. Getting used to producing these sounds helps you understand native speakers when they talk fast. It demystifies the speed. You realize they are not speaking faster, they are just connecting more. Try asking, how is it going? Connect the SEN is to the I in it. How's it going? How's it going? This is a very friendly and natural way to greet someone. As we continue this session, I want you to check your body again. Are your shoulders tight? Drop them. Is your forehead tense? Relax it. Smile. Smiling actually changes the shape of your mouth and can make your voice sound friendlier and more open. It also sends a signal to your brain that everything is okay. You are safe. You are just speaking a language. It is not life or death. It is connection. Let us talk about the power of imitation. Children learn languages by imitating their parents. They do not study grammar books. They just listen and repeat. You can do the same. Find a speaker whose voice you like. It could be an actor or a podcaster or a news anchor. Try to adopt their persona for a few minutes. Pretend you are them. How would they stand? How would they use their hands? Sometimes acting like someone else can trick your brain into forgetting its anxiety. It is a fun game to play. If you like the way I speak, try to imitate me. Try to copy my pauses and my intonation. It is a form of detailed listening that brings great results. We should also discuss the difference between formal and informal situations. Stress often comes from not knowing the right register. You might be afraid of being too casual in a business meeting or too formal at a party. A good rule of thumb for B1 and B2 learners is to aim for a neutral, polite tone. You do not need slang to sound fluent, and you do not need overly academic language to sound professional. Standard clear English works everywhere. Phrases like, I would like instead of I want are always safe. Could you help me? Instead of help me is always polite. When you stick to these safe, neutral structures, you reduce the risk of social errors, and that reduces stress. Let us build another sentence together using the chunking method. Start with the subject. My brother. Add an action. Decided to buy. Add an object. A new car. Add a time. Last week. My brother decided to buy a new car last week. Now let us try to say it smoothly. Connect. Decided to. Decideda. My brother decided to buy a new car last week. Feel the rhythm. Da 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 da. English is a stress-timed language. This means the time between stress syllables is roughly equal. My brother decided to buy a new car. If you can tap your hand on the table to the beat of the stressed words, it can help you keep your momentum. It stops you from getting stuck on the little words. Now, I want to address the fear of not understanding. Sometimes we are stressed about speaking because we are afraid we will not understand the reply. We are afraid the other person will say something complex and we will look foolish. If you do not understand, just ask. Asking for clarification is a fluent behavior. You can say, "Could you repeat that, please?" Or "I did not catch that." Or could you speak a little slower? Native speakers do this to each other all the time. It is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign that you want to communicate clearly. Never pretend to understand if you do not. That leads to confusion later. Just ask. It takes confidence to admit you did not hear, and that confidence is impressive. Let us focus on positive affirmations. The way you talk to yourself matters. If you tell yourself, "My English is terrible," your brain will believe you. If you tell yourself, "I am becoming a fluent speaker," your brain will work to make that true. Start your day with a positive thought about your English. I am getting better every day. I am capable of communicating my thoughts. I enjoy speaking English. These thoughts create a fertile ground for growth. Negativity is like a weed. It chokes your progress. Pull out the weeds and plant seeds of confidence. Remember that fluency is a journey, not a destination. You do not wake up one day and suddenly you are finished learning English. It is a lifelong process. Even native speakers learn new words and new ways to express themselves. So enjoy the journey. Celebrate the small wins. Did you order coffee without stuttering? That is a win. Did you understand a joke in a movie? That is a win. Did you have a 5-minute conversation with a stranger? That is a huge win. Stack these wins up and let them build your confidence. You are doing much better than you think you are. We are going to build directly on these foundations now as we explore some specific techniques that will make you sound more natural and feel less anxious in difficult situations. One of the biggest secrets to English rhythm that we have not talked about yet is a tiny sound called the schwa. This is the most common sound in the English language, but it is never written in the alphabet. It sounds like a very short, weak sound. It is the sound of a relaxed mouth. To speak smoothly, you cannot pronounce every vowel clearly. If you say to me, I am going to the market for a banana, and you pronounce every letter perfectly, it sounds distinct, but it does not sound fluent. It sounds choppy. In fluent English, we turn the unstressed vowels into that soft schwa sound. So the sentence becomes, I am going to the market for a banana. Notice how the word to becomes to. The word for becomes for. The word banana has 3 letters, but only the middle one is clear. The first and last ones are just sounds. Bunanu. This might feel lazy to you at first. You might think you are speaking badly, but actually, this is exactly how native speakers create that rolling, wave-like rhythm. It allows us to move quickly between the important words. Let us practice finding the schwa in some common words. Think about the word computer. We do not say computer, we say sumputer. The first syllable is soft. The last syllable is soft. The stress is in the middle. Computer. Try it. Computer. Now let us try the word amazing. It is not amazing, it is amazing. That first sound is so small it almost disappears. Amazing. When you master the schwa, you stop fighting against the natural rhythm of the language. You stop trying to force clarity where it does not belong. This saves you so much energy. You do not have to work so hard. You can just glide through the sentences. Now, I want to talk about a specific situation that causes high stress for almost everyone, and that is speaking on the phone. When you are on the phone, you cannot see the other person's face. You cannot see their lips moving or their hand gestures. You lose all that extra context, so you have to rely 100% on your ears. This can make you feel panic, but we can manage this stress with strategy. First, accept that phone calls are harder. It is not just you. It is difficult for everyone in a second language. When you pick up the phone, take control of the conversation immediately. If you are nervous, say so. You can say, "Hi, I am speaking English as a second language, so please bear with me." Most people will immediately become more patient and helpful. Another trick for the phone is to check your understanding frequently. Do not let the other person talk for 5 minutes while you sit there wondering what they are talking about. Interrupt politely. Use phrases like, "Just to clarify, do you mean that we are meeting at 5?" Or "Let me check if I understood you correctly." This puts you in the driver's seat. You are managing the flow of information. It also gives your brain a break. When you summarize what you heard, you are confirming it for yourself and you are showing the other person that you are listening actively. Let us practice a phone opening together. Imagine you are calling to make an appointment. You can say, "Hello, I would like to make an appointment for next week." Practice that chunk. "Hello, I would like to make an appointment." Now imagine they ask you a question fast. You can say, "I am sorry, the connection is a bit bad. Could you say that again?" Even if the connection is perfect, this is a polite white lie that gives you a second chance to listen without feeling stupid. It buys you time. Let us shift our focus to the idea of active vocabulary versus passive vocabulary. Passive vocabulary includes all the words you understand when you read or listen. Active vocabulary includes the words you can actually produce when you speak. Usually your passive vocabulary is much larger than your active vocabulary. This gap is frustrating. You know the word exists, but you cannot find it when you need it. To bridge this gap, you need to practice paraphrasing. Paraphrasing means explaining the same idea in different ways. This creates multiple pathways in your brain to the same concept. Let us try a paraphrasing exercise. Take the word expensive. You know this word. But what if you are speaking and you forget it? How else can you say it? You could say it costs a lot of money. You could say the price is high. You could say it is not cheap. You could say it is out of my budget. By practicing these variations, you make your English flexible. If one door is locked, you have 3 other keys to open the meaning. Let us try another one. The word tired. How else can you express this? I am exhausted. I have no energy. I need to sleep. I am worn out. Practice this game in your daily life. Look at an object in your room like a lamp and try to describe it in 3 different ways. It is a light. It is something to help me see. It is a bright object. This flexibility is the true mark of fluency. It means you are never stuck because you always have another way to explain yourself. Now, I want to address the physical aspect of stress, again specifically the dry mouth and the fast heart rate. When you get nervous, your body produces adrenaline. This creates that fight or flight response. Your body thinks you are in danger, so it shuts down non-essential functions like digestion and saliva production. That is why your mouth gets dry. To counter this, keep water with you. Taking a sip of water is a great way to pause a conversation naturally. It gives you 3 or 4 seconds to think while you drink. Also, physical movement can help. If you are on a phone call, walk around the room. Moving your legs can help burn off that excess adrenaline. If you are sitting in a chair, plant your feet flat on the floor. Feel the ground beneath you. This is called grounding. It reminds your body that you are safe and supported. Let us talk about grammar for a moment, but not in a boring textbook way. I want to talk about tenses in storytelling. When we tell stories, we often switch between the past simple and the past continuous. This can be confusing, but think of it like a movie. The past continuous is the background of the scene. It is what was happening around you. The past simple is the specific action that happened. For example, I was walking down the street when I saw my friend. I was walking as the background. I saw as the action. Let us practice this structure. I was cooking dinner when the phone rang. I was waiting for the bus when it started to rain. Practice this frame. I was doing something when something else happened. This structure makes your stories sound dynamic and interesting. It sets the scene. Let us try to build a story together using this structure. Imagine you are at the airport. Set the scene with continuous actions. I was sitting at the gate. I was reading a book. People were walking everywhere. Now add the specific action. Suddenly, they announced a delay. Now add your reaction. I felt frustrated, so I decided to get a coffee. See how the story moves forward. Background, action, reaction. Background, action, reaction. This is a formula you can rely on. It takes the stress out of narrative. You do not have to invent a new grammar structure every time you speak. You just fill in the slots in the formula. Another major hurdle for B1 and B2 learners is the fear of prepositions. Is it in the bus or on the bus? Is it at Monday or on Monday? Let me tell you a secret. Native speakers mess this up too sometimes. And more importantly, if you use the wrong preposition, people will still understand you perfectly. If you say, "I will see you at Monday," nobody is going to be confused. They know you mean the day Monday. So do not let the fear of a tiny, two-letter word stop you from speaking a whole beautiful sentence. Do not let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Just guess. If you are wrong, you will probably hear the correct version from the other person, and you can learn it for next time. But if you stay silent, you learn nothing. However, there are some general rules that can help you feel more confident. For time use for specific clock times, like at 5 o'clock. Use on for days, like on Monday. Use in for longer periods, like in July or in the morning. Think of it like a funnel. At is the narrow point. On is a bit wider. In is the widest. At 5. On Friday, in summer. Repeating these patterns makes them stick. Let us chant them a little bit to get the rhythm. At 5. On Friday, in summer, at noon. On Sunday, in winter. At night. On my birthday. In the future. Rhythm helps memory. If you learn grammar through music and rhythm, it stays in your head much better than if you learn it from a rule on a page. Let us discuss the art of small talk. Small talk is the grease that keeps the social engine running smoothly. In English-speaking cultures, small talk is very important. It is how we establish trust before getting to the main topic. But for learners, it can be terrifying because it feels unstructured. The weather is always a safe topic. It sounds cliché, but it works. Is it cold out there? It looks like it might rain. What a beautiful day. These are easy openers. Another great topic is the immediate environment. If you are in a waiting room, you can say, "This room is very busy today." If you are at a party, you can say, "The food looks delicious." The key to small talk is to ask open-ended questions. These are questions that require more than a yes or no answer. Instead of asking, "Did you have a good weekend?" which gets a yes answer, ask, "What did you do this weekend?" This invites a story. And when the other person is telling a story, you are free to just listen and nod. Listening strategies are just as important as speaking strategies. When you are listening to someone, focus on the keywords. Do not try to translate every single word in your head. If you hear, "went beach, swim, fun," you understand the story. You do not need to hear every article and preposition to get the gist. This is called listening for the big picture. When you relax your listening, you relax your thinking. You stop panicking about the details and you start connecting with the human being in front of you. Also use nonverbal cues to show you are listening. Nod your head, smile, make eye contact, say "uh-huh" and "oh really." These small sounds encourage the speaker and they keep you involved in the conversation without the pressure of forming complex sentences. Let us go back to pronunciation for a minute and talk about consonant clusters. These are groups of consonants that come together without vowels in between, like the word strengths. It has NGTS all at the end. That is hard. or the word asked, SKT. It is a mouthful. Here is a tip. Native speakers often simplify these clusters. In the word asked, we often drop the K sound slightly so it sounds more like asked. He asked me a question. In the word clothes, we often say it like close. Put on your clothes. It is okay to simplify difficult sounds if it helps you keep your rhythm. The flow is more important than the individual consonant. If you stop the flow to struggle with a sound, you break the spell of communication. Let us practice some difficult words, but we will say them gently. Repeat after me. Squirrel. This is a hard one. Squirrel. Focus on the R sound. Rural, rural. Brewery, brewery. If you stumble, that is okay. Laugh at it. Humor is a great stress reliever. If you cannot say a word, make a joke about it. Say, wow, that word is a tongue twister for me. When you laugh, you release tension in your jaw and your diaphragm. You become more relatable. People like talking to humans, not robots. Show your human side. I want to talk about the power of shadowing with emotion. We tried shadowing before where you repeat what I say. Now I want you to try to copy the emotion behind the words. English is a very expressive language. We use our pitch to show how we feel. Listen to the word really. If I say it with a falling tone, really, it means I believe you or I agree. If I say it with a rising tone, really, it means I am surprised or doubtful. If I say it flat, really, it might sound sarcastic. Try to experiment with this one word. Say it with surprise. Really? Say it with anger. Really? Say it with sadness. Really? By playing with the emotion, you unlock the musicality of English. You stop sounding like a translation machine and start sounding like a person with feelings. Let us try a sentence with different emotions. The sentence is, I cannot believe you did that. First imagine you are happy and impressed. I cannot believe you did that. Your voice is high and bouncy. Now imagine you are angry. I cannot believe you did that. Your voice is lower and harder. Now imagine you are sad. I cannot believe you did that. Your voice is slow and quiet. This exercise connects your feelings to your English. It bridges the gap between your heart and your mouth. Often we feel like we have a different personality in English. We feel flatter. This exercise helps you bring your colorful personality back into the language. Now let us look at the concept of fillers. We talked about letting me think, but there are other sounds native speakers use. We use and like, and you know. While you do not want to overuse these, using them occasionally makes you sound very natural. It signals that you are thinking. It is much better to say, I went to the store than to say, I went to the silence store. The keeps the listener's attention. It tells them, do not interrupt me. I am still holding the floor. I am just searching for a word. It maintains the connection. Let us talk about the difference between formal education and real-world English. In school, you likely learn to answer questions in full sentences. If the teacher asks, do you like ice cream, you are taught to say, yes, I like ice cream very much. But in the real world, that sounds stiff. In real life, if someone asks, do you like ice cream, you can just say, I love it, or absolutely, or not really. Short answers are very common and very fluent. Do not feel you have to repeat the question in your answer. Just give the new information. This makes the conversation move faster and feels more dynamic. Let us practice short responses. I will ask you a question and I want you to give a short, natural answer. Are you ready? Yes, I am. Did you have a good day? It was great. Do you want to go out? Not right now. Have you seen that movie? Yeah, I have. Notice how quick and easy these are. They are light. They do not carry the heavy weight of grammar rules. They just convey the message. Mastering these short responses will make you feel much more like a part of the conversation rather than a student taking a test. Another great way to practice smoothness is to read out loud. Find a transcript of this podcast or a simple book or an article. Read it out loud, but do not just read it. Perform it. Imagine you are an actor recording an audiobook. Read it to an imaginary audience. When you read, you do not have to think about what to say next. The words are there. This frees up your brain to focus entirely on how you say it. Focus on the punctuation. Pause at the commas. Stop at the periods. Emphasize the adjectives. This builds muscle memory in your mouth. Your muscles need to learn the shapes of English, just like your leg muscles need to learn how to ride a bike. It is physical training. Let us talk about the fear of judgment from other non-native speakers. Sometimes we are more afraid of speaking in front of our friends who also speak English than in front of native speakers. We feel like they are analyzing our mistakes. We feel competitive. Let us let go of that. Everyone is on their own journey. If someone speaks better than you, be inspired by them. Ask them how they learned. If someone speaks worse than you, be patient and helpful. We are a community of learners. We are all trying to do the same hard thing. When you support others, you create a safe environment for yourself too. If you see a friend struggling with a word, help them gently, or just wait patiently. Do not interrupt. Give them the space you would want for yourself. I also want to suggest a technique called self-talk. Throughout your day, talk to yourself in English. Narrate your life. When you are making coffee, say to yourself, "Now I am pouring the water. It is hot. I need a spoon." When you are getting dressed, say, "I am putting on my blue shirt." This keeps your English brain active all day long. It eliminates the warm-up time you usually need when you switch languages. If you are thinking in English even simply, you are ready to speak in English at any moment. You do not have to translate because you are already in the mode. It feels a bit silly at first, but it is incredibly effective. It turns your whole life into a language classroom. Let us explore the idea of collocations. Collocations are words that naturally go together. For example, we say make the bed, but do the homework. We say fast food, but quick shower. We do not say quick food or fast shower. Learning these pairs helps you speak faster because your brain retrieves them as a single unit. Instead of finding the word for fast and then the word for food, you just find fast food. Listen for these pairs when you consume content. When you learn a new noun, look for the verbs and adjectives that usually travel with it. Do not just learn the word decision. Learn make a decision. Learn hard decision. Learn final decision. Learning words in isolation is like collecting car parts but never building the car. Learning collocations is like getting the whole car ready to drive. Let us practice some common collocations. Take the word mistake. What verbs go with it? We make a mistake. We admit a mistake. We fix a mistake. Take the word advice. We give advice. We take advice. We follow advice. Take the word shower. We take a shower. We have a shower. By learning these chunks, you sound native because you are using the combinations that native speakers use intuitively. It prevents those awkward moments where you say, "I did a mistake," and everyone understands, but knows it sounds slightly off. Now, I want to address the B2 plateau specifically. At this level, you can communicate almost anything, but you might feel you lack nuance. You want to express subtle feelings, but you only have big, blocky words. This is where reading comes in. Reading fiction exposes you to the descriptive language of feelings and atmosphere. You do not have to read heavy literature. Read modern stories. Read thrillers or romances. These books use modern, natural dialogue. Underline phrases that you think are beautiful or useful. Write them down in a notebook. Review them. Try to use one of them in your next conversation. Let us talk about the role of culture in language. Language is not just words, it is a map of a culture. English speakers, particularly in the UK and US, value politeness and indirectness in many situations. Instead of saying, "open the window," which is an imperative and can sound rude, we often say, "could you mind opening the window?" Or, "it is a bit warm in here, isn't it?" This indirectness is a cultural code. Learning these softeners helps you navigate social situations without stress. Phrases like, "I was wondering if or would it be possible to," are magic keys. They open doors. They make people want to help you. When you know you are being polite, you feel more confident that you will be received well. Let us practice some softeners. Instead of saying, "give me that," say, "could I have that, please?" Instead of saying, "no, I cannot," say, "I am afraid I cannot make it." Instead of saying, "that is a bad idea," say, "I am not sure that is the best approach." These softeners act like cushions. They make the conversation comfortable for everyone. And when the other person is comfortable, you will be comfortable too. We are covering so much ground today. I hope you are pausing to drink water and breathe. Let us do a quick body scan again. Check your jaw. Is it clenched? Wiggle it from side to side. Check your tongue. Is it pressed against the roof of your mouth? Let it relax. Check your hands. Are they making fists? Open them. Shake them out. Tension creates barriers. Relaxation creates flow. I want to talk about the concept of thinking time. In many cultures, silence is uncomfortable, so we rush to fill it. But in English-speaking cultures, a small pause before answering is often seen as a sign that you are considering the question seriously. It is a sign of respect. So do not feel you have to jump in with an answer the millisecond the other person stops speaking. Take a breath. Look thoughtful. Say, that is an interesting question. Then answer. That 3-second buffer gives your brain time to formulate a sentence. It prevents you from starting a sentence you cannot finish. It gives you control. Let us simulate a conversation where you need time. I ask you, what is your opinion on global warming? That is a big topic. Do not panic. Take a breath. Say, well, it is a complex issue. Pause. I think that we need to do more. Pause. But it is difficult to change habits. See how I broke that big, scary answer into small, manageable pieces. I did not try to give a speech. I just gave one sentence, then another, then another. You eat the elephant one bite at a time. Let us return to the idea of linking words. These are the bridges between your ideas. Words like however, therefore, although, and besides. These words help you organize your thoughts, and they signal to the listener where you are going. If you say, however, the listener knows a contrast is coming. If you say, for example, they know a detail is coming. Using these signposts makes you sound very structured and fluent. It is like giving the listener a map of your mind. Let us practice a few. I like summer, however it is too hot sometimes. I study hard, therefore I get good grades. Although I was tired, I went to the party. Try to use one linking word in your next practice session. It elevates your speech from simple sentences to complex thoughts. As we move deeper into this training, I want to remind you that your value as a person is not tied to your English proficiency. You are intelligent. You are interesting. You are worthy of respect regardless of how many grammar mistakes you make. English is just a tool you are learning to use. Do not let the tool define the master. You are the master. The language is yours to play with, to mold, to use. Visualize yourself speaking fluently. Close your eyes for a moment if you can. See yourself in a meeting or at a dinner party. See yourself smiling. See yourself talking easily. Hear your voice sounding clear and strong. See the people around you nodding and smiling back. This visualization technique is used by athletes to improve performance. It primes your brain for success. If you can see it, you can do it. Your brain has trouble distinguishing between a vivid visualization and reality. So give it the reality you want. We are building a habit here, a habit of daily fluency training. It is not about a massive effort once a month. It is about small, gentle efforts every day. Listen to a podcast while you cook. Talk to yourself in the shower. Read a page of a book before bed. These small drops of water eventually form a river, and that river is your fluency. It will flow. It is inevitable. If you keep practicing, you will improve. There is no other outcome possible. Now let us go even deeper into the nuance of social interactions. We are going to explore how to handle opinions, how to manage disagreements, and how to understand the fast, messy reality of native speech. Let us start with something that creates a lot of anxiety for intermediate learners, and that is giving an opinion. When you are at a B1 or B2 level, you often stick to facts because facts are safe. It is easy to say the sky is blue. It is much harder to say I feel that the sky is a particularly beautiful shade of blue today because it reminds me of my childhood. Opinions require more vocabulary and they require vulnerability. But opinions are where connections happen. People want to know what you think, not just what you know. A great way to start giving opinions without stress is to use low-stakes phrases. You do not always have to say, I believe that. You can say it seems to me that, or I get the impression that. These phrases are softer. They protect you because you are sharing an impression, not a hard truth. Let us practice this. Imagine we are talking about a movie. Instead of saying the movie was bad, which is very direct and final, try saying, I didn't really connect with the movie. Or I found the story a bit slow. These are subjective statements. They are about your experience, not about the objective quality of the film. This makes it impossible for someone to tell you that you are wrong. No one can say you are wrong about your own feelings. This subtle shift gives you a lot of safety. Practice saying, I found it interesting. I found it difficult. I found it exciting. This structure, I found it, followed by an adjective, is incredibly useful. It sounds sophisticated, but it is actually very simple grammar. Now let us move to the art of disagreeing. This is a high-stress zone. In many cultures, disagreeing can be seen as rude, so doing it in a second language feels dangerous. You do not want to offend anyone, but you also do not want to agree with things you do not believe in. The secret to disagreeing politely in English is to validate the other person first. We call this the yes but technique. You say yes to their point and then you introduce your counterpoint. You might say, I see your point, but I view it a little differently. Or, that is a valid perspective. However, I have a different experience. By starting with agreement, you lower the defenses of the other person. You show them that you are listening and that you respect them. Then when you deliver your disagreement, it is received much better. Let us simulate a disagreement. Imagine someone says big cities are the best place to live. You hate big cities. Do not just say no, they are noisy. That stops the conversation. Instead, try this. I understand why people love the energy of big cities, but personally, I prefer the peace of the countryside. See how smooth that is. It flows. It is not a collision, it is a detour. Practice these soft openers. I see what you mean. That is true in some cases. I understand where you are coming from. Keep these phrases in your pocket like keys. They will unlock difficult conversations for you. I want to talk about a phenomenon called reductions. You might have noticed that native speakers rarely say going to. We say gonna. We rarely say want to. We say wanna. We rarely say let me. We say lemme. These are not slang words that you should avoid. These are natural features of fluent spoken English. They happen because we are speaking efficiently. We are sliding from one sound to the next. Understanding reductions is crucial for your listening skills. If you are waiting to hear, I am going to go to the store, you might miss the message if the speaker says, I'm going to go to the store. You need to train your ear to recognize gonna as going to. Should you use these reductions yourself? The answer is yes, but with care. In a formal business presentation, you should probably say going to. But in a casual chat with a colleague, saying, gonna makes you sound more relatable and less stiff. It helps you fit in with the rhythm of the group. Let us practice a few common ones. Have to becomes hafta. I have to go. Has to becomes hasta. She has to work. Got to becomes gotta. I gotta run. Try saying them. I gotta run. It feels faster, right? It feels like you are surfing the wave of the language instead of swimming against it. Do not force them if they feel uncomfortable, but start listening for them. You will hear them everywhere. Now let us discuss the fear of idioms. English is full of idioms. Phrases like it is a piece of cake, or do not let the cat out of the bag. Learners often obsess over these. They memorize lists of hundreds of idioms and then try to squeeze them into conversations. This can actually increase your stress because you are constantly looking for a chance to perform your idiom. And if you use it slightly wrong, it can be confusing. My advice for B1 and B2 learners is to focus on a small group of very high-frequency idioms and master them. Do not worry about the obscure ones. Here are 3 idioms that are very safe and very common. The first is to call it a day. This means to stop working. You can use this at the end of any meeting or work session. You can say, I am tired, let us call it a day. It always sounds natural. The second is to get the hang of it. This means to learn how to do something. You can say, I am slowly getting the hang of English. The third is so far so good. This means everything is going well up to this point. How is your project going? So far so good. These 3 phrases are like reliable friends. You can trust them. They will not let you down. Use them until they feel automatic. Let us shift our focus to the skill of mirroring. Mirroring is a psychological technique where you subtly copy the body language and the speech patterns of the person you are talking to. It builds rapport and trust. In language learning, mirroring is also a powerful fluency tool. If the person you are talking to is speaking slowly and quietly, try to match that energy. If they are energetic and loud, try to match that. This helps you tune into their wavelength. It also gives you a template for how to speak in that specific moment. You do not have to invent the tone. The other person has already set it for you. You just have to follow their lead. It takes the pressure off you to be the leader of the conversation. Now, I want to address a very specific grammar point that adds a lot of fluency: question tags. These are the little questions we add to the end of sentences, like "isn't it?" or "don't you?" "It is a beautiful day, isn't it?" "You like coffee, don't you?" These tags turn statements into invitations. They invite the other person to agree with you or to comment. They keep the ball moving back and forth. The rule is simple. If the main sentence is positive, the tag is negative. "It is nice, isn't it?" If the main sentence is negative, the tag is positive. "It isn't raining, is it?" Mastering question tags makes you sound very British or very American depending on the intonation, but either way it sounds very fluent. It is a social glue. Let us practice. You are learning English, aren't you? You can do this, can't you? It wasn't hard, was it? Use these when you want to check if someone agrees with you or when you just want to be friendly. It softens a statement. Instead of saying "this report is wrong," which is harsh, you can say "this report isn't quite right, is it?" That allows the other person to save face. It is a diplomatic tool. Let us talk about the concept of global English. Often we stress because we want to sound exactly like a native speaker from London or New York, but the reality is that most English conversations in the world happen between two non-native speakers. You might be a Spanish speaker talking to a Japanese speaker in English. In this context, having a perfect British accent does not matter at all. What matters is clarity. What matters is being understood. So do not hate your accent. Your accent is part of your history. It is part of your identity. As long as your pronunciation is clear, your accent is not a problem. In fact, many people find accents charming and interesting. Focus on clear vowels and clear consonants, not on mimicking a specific queen or president. Speaking of vowels, let us look at vowel length. This is a small detail that makes a big difference. In English, some vowels are long and some are short. The difference between sheep and ship is the length of the vowel. Sheep is long. E. Ship is short. E. The difference between sheet and the bad word is length. You definitely want to get that one right. The difference between leave and live. I want to leave. I want to live. Practice stretching the long vowels. Smile when you say them. E, cheese, tree, believe. And relax your mouth for the short vowels. Is, bit, sit, hit. Getting this contrast right creates a rhythm that is very easy for native speakers to understand. It removes the strain from the listener. Let us go back to the idea of storytelling and add a new layer: descriptions. When you tell a story, do not just say what happened. Say what it looked like or what it felt like. Adjectives are the spices of language. Instead of saying, "I went to a big building," say, "I went to a massive glass building." Instead of saying the food was good, say the food was spicy and delicious. You do not need complex, poetic words. Just simple descriptive words add so much color. Let us practice expanding a sentence. The dog ran. That is a boring sentence. Let us add adjectives. The small brown dog ran. Let us add an adverb. The small brown dog ran quickly. Let us add a location. The small brown dog ran quickly across the park. Now you have a picture in your head. That is fluency. Fluency is painting pictures with words. I want to suggest a practice method called the narration game. You can do this alone. Look around your room and try to narrate what is happening as if you are a sports commentator. The cat is jumping onto the sofa. The sun is shining through the window. Jessica is drinking her coffee. This forces your brain to access nouns and verbs in real time. It eliminates the translation delay. If you do this for 5 minutes a day, you will find that the words come much faster when you are in a real conversation. You are greasing the gears of your mind. Let us talk about energy management. Speaking a second language is exhausting. It burns a lot of glucose in your brain. It is normal to feel tired after a 1-hour lesson or a meeting. This is called language fatigue. Do not beat yourself up if you feel your level dropping after a while. Your brain is just tired. When you feel this happening, it is okay to switch to simpler sentences. It is okay to speak less, listen more, preserve your energy. You do not have to be performing at 100% all the time. Even native speakers have moments where they are tired and can hardly string a sentence together. Be gentle with your brain. It is working very hard for you. Now let us tackle the scenario of asking for a favor. This is another high-stress situation because you are asking for something and you risk rejection. The key here is to give the person an out. Make it easy for them to say no if they need to. Phrases like, "I was wondering if you could possibly help me," are very polite. Or if you have time, could you look at this? Or no worries if you are busy, but I need a hand. These phrases show that you respect their time. When you are polite, people are much more likely to say yes, and if they say no, they will do it gently. Practice the structure. I was wondering if... It is a magical phrase in English. I was wondering if I could borrow your pen. I was wondering if you are free for lunch. It is soft and unthreatening. Let us explore the concept of hedging. Hedging is using words like probably, maybe, might, and could to sound less dogmatic. Instead of saying, "This is the answer," say, "This might be the answer." Instead of saying, "We will fail," say, "We could face some challenges." Hedging makes you sound prudent and thoughtful. It is very common in professional settings. It protects you from being wrong. If you say it will rain and it does not, you look bad. If you say it might rain and it does not, you are still right, because you only said it might. Learn to use these hedges to navigate uncertain situations with confidence. I want to talk about the importance of intonation in conveying attitude. You can say the word thanks in many ways. You can say thanks efficiently to a bus driver. You can say thanks warmly to a friend. You can say thanks sarcastically to someone who annoyed you. The word is the same, but the music changes the meaning completely. As a learner, try to over-exaggerate your intonation slightly when you practice. Push your voice higher and lower than you normally would. It might feel theatrical, but it usually sounds normal to the listener. English is a very melodramatic language compared to some others. We use a wide vocal range. Do not be afraid to use it. Let us discuss the fear of silence in a group. You are in a group conversation, and everyone is speaking fast and laughing. You are sitting there silently feeling invisible. You want to join in, but by the time you formulate a sentence, the topic has changed. This is a classic pain point. My advice is to start with nonverbal participation. Laugh when they laugh. Nod vigorously. Make eye contact with the speaker. Then try to add short agreements. Exactly. No way. That is crazy. These short interjections get you into the flow of the conversation without requiring you to stop the train. Once you have established your presence, with these short sounds, it is easier to jump in with a full sentence. You have already warmed up your spot in the circle. Another technique for group conversations is to ask a question back to the person who just spoke. People love talking about themselves. If someone tells a story about their holiday, ask, "Where did you stay?" or "Was the food good?" This shifts the spotlight back to them, which relieves the pressure on you, but you are still an active participant. You are steering the conversation even if you are not doing the heavy lifting of speaking. Being a good listener makes you a popular conversationalist even if your grammar is imperfect. Let us talk about writing as a bridge to speaking. Sometimes the gap between your brain and your mouth is too wide. Writing can be the bridge. Try keeping a daily journal in English. Write 3 sentences about your day. When you write, you have time to think about the best word and the correct tense. You can erase and rewrite. This slow-motion practice builds the neural pathways that you will later use for speaking. If you write the sentence, "I felt overwhelmed by the traffic yesterday," enough times eventually it will come out of your mouth automatically. Writing solidifies the patterns. It is like a rehearsal for the live performance of speaking. Let us practice a specific structure for expressing future plans. We often use the present continuous for future arrangements. I am meeting my friend tomorrow. I am flying to Paris next week. This is often more natural than saying, "I will meet" or "I will fly." It implies that the plan is fixed. It is on the calendar. Practice this. What are you doing tomorrow? I am working. I am going to the gym. I am cooking dinner. It is a very simple tense, but using it for the future makes you sound advanced. It shows you understand the nuance of time. I want to address the feeling of regression. Sometimes you feel like your English is getting worse. You used to be able to say this word and now you can't. This is actually a common illusion. Usually what is happening is that your awareness is improving. You are noticing mistakes that you used to ignore. You are becoming a better editor of your own speech. So if you feel like you are getting worse, take it as a sign that your standards are getting higher. You are growing. Do not let it discourage you. Just keep going. Let us talk about the beauty of simple connectors. Words like so, because, and but. These are the glue of logic. You do not need fancy words like consequently or nevertheless in daily chat. So is a wonderful word. It connects cause and effect. I was hungry, so I ate. It was raining, so we stayed inside. Because connects effect and cause. I ate because I was hungry. Mastering these simple connectors allows you to build compound sentences that flow rhythmically. Practice linking 2 simple thoughts with so. I was tired. I went to bed. I was tired, so I went to bed. It turns 2 choppy waves into 1 smooth wave. Now let us look at the skill of clarification. Sometimes you say something and you see a look of confusion on the other person's face. Do not panic. Just rephrase. You can use phrases like "what I mean is," or, in other words, or let me put it another way. This shows that you are aware of the communication breakdown and you are fixing it. It is a sign of high emotional intelligence. "What I mean is" gives you a fresh start. You can try the sentence again with different words. It is a second chance. Let us practice the sound of the letter R. This is a hard sound for many learners. In American English, it is strong and hard. Car, door. In British English, it is often soft or silent at the end of words. Ka-dee-do. Choose the one that feels easier for your mouth. Consistency is more important than geography. If the American R is too hard, try the British one. If the British one feels unnatural, try the American one. Find the sound that allows you to speak without pain. Your mouth should not hurt when you speak English. If it hurts, you are carrying too much tension. We are going to do a visualization exercise again. I want you to imagine a specific success. Imagine you are at a coffee shop. You order a complex drink, a large soy latte with no foam and an extra shot. You say it clearly. The barista understands you perfectly. You pay. You say, "Have a nice day." You walk away with your coffee feeling like a champion. Visualize this small scene in detail. Smell the coffee, hear the noise of the machine, feel the cup in your hand. These small visualizations build a library of success in your subconscious. When you actually go to the coffee shop, your brain will say, "Hey, I have done this before. I know how to do this." Let us talk about the difference between fluency and accuracy. Accuracy is getting the grammar right. Fluency is keeping the conversation going. In the real world, fluency is usually more important. If you say he go to the store smoothly, the conversation continues. If you say he, went to the store, the conversation dies. Prioritize the flow. Correct yourself later in your journal. In the moment, just communicate. The goal is connection, not perfection. I want to encourage you to find a speaking partner who makes you feel safe. It could be a tutor, a language exchange partner, or a friend. It should be someone who does not interrupt you constantly to correct you. You need a space where you can make mistakes freely. A space where the goal is just to talk. If your current practice partner makes you feel stressed, find a new one. Your environment dictates your growth. You need sunlight and water, not judgment and harshness. Let us explore the phrase used to. This is great for talking about the past. I used to play football means I played in the past, but not anymore. It is different from I am used to, which means I am accustomed to. Mastering. I used to add a nice nostalgic tone to your stories. I used to live in that house. I used to have long hair. It is a specific kind of past tense that implies change. Practice talking about your childhood. I used to ride my bike. I used to hate broccoli. It is a simple structure that carries a lot of meaning. Now let us talk about the concept of echoing. This is when you repeat the last few words someone said to show you are listening and to encourage them to continue. If someone says, "I went to this amazing restaurant last night," you can say "amazing restaurant" with a rising intonation. They will then say, "Yes, it was Italian and the pasta was great." You echo again, "The pasta was great." They say, "Yes, it was homemade." This technique keeps the other person talking and gives you a lot of listening input with almost zero effort. You are just bouncing the ball back. It is a brilliant conversational hack. Let us address the fear of numbers. Saying numbers in a foreign language is strangely difficult. Our brains process numbers in a different area. When you have to say a phone number or a price, you might freeze. Practice this specifically. Read license plates on cars as you walk down the street. Read prices in the supermarket. Say them out loud. $7.50, $102, $9.99. The more you say them, the less scary they become. Do not let a number block your flow. We are deep into this training now, and you are doing excellent work. You are retraining your brain and your mouth. You are replacing fear with strategy. You are replacing tension with breath. I want you to remember that every native speaker was once a baby who could not speak at all. They learned by making millions of mistakes. You are doing the same thing just a bit later in life. Be patient with the process. You are growing a garden, not building a wall. A garden takes time and care. Let us finish this section with a focus on gratitude. Be some grateful for the English you already know. Be grateful that you can understand this message. Be grateful that you have the resources to learn. Gratitude shifts your mindset from scarcity to abundance. Instead of focusing on the words you do not know, focus on the words you do know. You have thousands of words in your head. That is a treasure. Use that treasure. We are now going to step into some more advanced territory. We are going to look at how to handle professional pressure, like job interviews and meetings. We are going to explore how to express complex feelings like regret and hope. And we are going to talk about the subtle art of humor and social grace. These are the skills that take you from being just a student of English to being a true user of English. Let us start with a scenario that strikes fear into the hearts of even the most confident speakers, and that is the job interview. Doing an interview in your native language is hard enough. Doing it in a second language can feel impossible. But it is not impossible if you have a strategy. The biggest question in an interview is usually, "Tell me about yourself." This is an open invitation to ramble and get lost. The stress comes from not knowing where to start or stop. I want you to use a simple structure called past, present, future. Start with your past experience, then move to your current role, then finish with what you want to do in the future. Let us practice this structure. Imagine you are an accountant. You could say, "Well, I studied finance at university and worked for a small firm for 5 years." That is the past. Currently, I am managing accounts for a retail company where I lead a team of 3. That is the present. Looking forward, I am really eager to work in a larger international environment, which is why I applied for this role. That is the future. See how clean that is. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. When you have a mental map like this, you do not have to search for words. You just fill in the blanks. Practice your own past-present. Future story today. Write it down. Say it out loud. Make it smooth. Another high-pressure professional situation is the meeting, specifically the moment when you have to interrupt or add a point. You are sitting there waiting for a gap in the conversation, but everyone is speaking so fast, you feel like you are watching a tennis match. If you wait for total silence, you might wait forever. You need to learn how to interrupt politely. Phrases like, simply raising your hand and saying, "Can I just jump in here?" are perfect. Or, "Sorry to interrupt, but I have a thought on that." Or, "If I could just add something briefly." These phrases signal that you respect the speaker, but you also have value to add. Using the word briefly is a great trick. It tells people you are not going to talk for 10 minutes, so they are more willing to let you speak. Let us talk about the grammar of professionalism. In business English, we often use modal verbs to sound less demanding. Instead of saying we must do this, we say we should probably consider doing this. Instead of saying this is wrong, we say this might not be the best approach. Words like could, might, and may are your best friends in a meeting. They soften the blow. They make you sound collaborative rather than authoritarian. Practice changing harsh sentences into soft ones. Change, "I want the report," to "I would like the report." Change "do this now" to "could you possibly do this when you have a moment?" It takes more words, but it builds better relationships. Now let us shift gears to emotional expression. As a B2 learner, you want to express more than just happiness and sadness. You want to express regret. You want to express hypothetical situations. This brings us to the conditional tenses. These are often taught with complicated formulas, but I want you to feel the rhythm of them. The second conditional is for imagining things that are not real. If I had $1 million, I would travel the world. Feel the balance. If I had, I would. It is like a seesaw. If I knew the answer, I would tell you. If I were you, I would take the job. Practice this rhythm. If, would. If, would. Do not worry about the grammatical terms. Just get the sound of it into your ear. What about regret? This is usually the third conditional, talking about the past. I wish I had studied harder. Or if I had known, I would have called you. This is a bit of a mouthful. I would have called you. Native speakers often squash this down to, I would have called you. I woulda. Listen for that sound. I would have done it. I should have gone. I could have helped. Recognizing these compressed sounds helps you understand native speakers when they are talking about their regrets or their mistakes. Try saying it, I should have known better. It feels casual and natural. Let us talk about the emotion of hope. Hope is easier. We use hope with the present tense usually. I hope it rains tomorrow. I hope you feel better. But we can also use hopefully as an adverb to start a sentence. Hopefully we will finish on time. Hopefully the traffic isn't bad. This is a great word to start a sentence because it sets a positive tone right from the beginning. It tells the listener that you are optimistic. Now I want to address a very subtle part of fluency, which is humor. Trying to be funny in a second language is risky. Jokes often rely on wordplay or cultural references that are hard to translate. If you tell a joke and nobody laughs, it feels terrible. My advice is to avoid telling prepared jokes. Instead, use situational humor. This means commenting on what is happening right now. If it starts raining heavily while you are walking to a meeting, you can smile and say, well, at least we won't need a shower. It is simple. It is light. It connects you to the moment. You do not need to be a stand-up comedian. You just need to be lighthearted. A smile is often enough. Let us discuss the concept of active listening in a professional context. In a meeting or an interview, you need to show you are engaged even when you are not speaking. We talked about nodding, but you can also use summary phrases. When someone finishes a long explanation, you can say, "So what you are saying is," and then summarize their point in one sentence. So what you are saying is, we need to cut the budget. This is a power move. It proves you understood. It clarifies the situation for everyone. And it gives you a chance to speak without having to come up with a new idea. You are just reflecting their idea back to them. Now I want to talk about the imposter syndrome. This is the feeling that you are a fraud, that you are not really good at English and that people are going to find out. Almost every learner feels this. Even native speakers feel this in new situations. The cure for imposter syndrome is action. It is doing the thing you are afraid of. Every time you speak and survive, your confidence grows. Every time you make a mistake and the world does not end, your fear shrinks. Remember that most people are focusing on themselves, not on you. They are worried about their own presentation, not your grammar. Let us practice some idioms that are common in the workplace. We talked about general idioms before, but business idioms are very specific. To get the ball rolling means to start a project. Let us get the ball rolling on this marketing plan. To be on the same page means to agree. I want to make sure we are all on the same page. To think outside the box means to be creative. We need to think outside the box for this solution. To touch base means to make contact briefly. Let us touch base next week. These 4 idioms, get the ball rolling on the same page, think outside the box, touch base, will cover about 50% of the business jargon you hear. Learn them. Use them. They make you sound like an insider. Let us look at the challenge of numbers and data. In a presentation, you might have to read a graph. You might have to say, sales increased by 20%, or revenue dropped in the third quarter. The prepositions here are tricky. We say increase by an amount. Sales went up by 10%, but we say increase to a new total. Sales went up to $1 million. By shows the difference, to shows the result. Visualizing this helps. Imagine the gap is by. The destination is to. Practice describing trends. It went up, it went down, it fluctuated, it remained stable. Being able to describe a simple line on a graph is a very valuable skill. Now let us return to the physical aspect of speaking. We talked about breath. Now I want to talk about eye contact. In many English-speaking cultures, eye contact is a sign of honesty and confidence. If you look at the floor when you speak, people might think you are unsure or hiding something. But staring is also scary. A good rule is to look at the person's eyes for a few seconds, then look away slightly, then look back. It should be a gentle dance, not a laser beam. If looking at the eyes is too intense, look at the spot between their eyebrows. They cannot tell the difference, and it is much less intimate. Let us talk about the filler words. Native speakers use when they are correcting themselves. If you start a sentence and realize it is wrong, you can stop and say, I went to the post office. This is very common. It signals a correction. You do not have to apologize. You do not have to say, oh, I am sorry I made a mistake. Just say, I mean, and correct it. It keeps the flow going forward. It is like stumbling on a sidewalk. You do not sit down and cry. You just catch your balance and keep walking. Let us explore the concept of register switching. Register is the level of formality. You speak differently to your boss than to your best friend. The skill is knowing when to switch. A good fluency exercise is to take one sentence and say it in 3 different registers. Let us take the message, give me the salt. Formal. Could you please pass the salt? Neutral. Can I have the salt, please? Informal. Pass the salt. Practice this shifting. It makes your English flexible. It prepares you for any social environment. I want to address the fear of accents again, but from a different angle. Sometimes we have trouble understanding other non-native accents. You might be used to American English, but you struggle to understand a French person speaking English. This is normal. Your ear is tuned to a specific frequency. The best way to improve this is to expose yourself to diverse English. Listen to podcasts from India, from Singapore, from South Africa. The world of English is huge. The more variety you hear, the more adaptable your ears become. Do not just stick to the standard BBC or CNN voices. Real-world English is messy and beautiful. Let us talk about the power of silence in negotiation. If you are discussing a price or a deadline and you state your position, stop talking. Silence can be a tool. If you say I can pay $50 and then stop, the silence puts pressure on the other person to respond. Many learners talk too much because they are nervous. They negotiate against themselves. They say I can pay $50, but maybe 60 is okay. Or even 70. Be brave enough to state your case and wait. The silence is not your enemy, it is your partner. Now let us practice the pronunciation of endings. We often swallow the ends of words when we are tired. We drop the S or the ed. This can cause grammatical confusion. I work implies I do it every day. I worked implies I did it in the past. That little T sound at the end is the only difference. I worked. Make sure you finish your words. Give them their full respect. It takes a millisecond more, but it ensures clarity. Practice lists of past tense verbs. Walked, talked, cooked, stopped. Hear that crisp ending. It is the anchor of the time frame. Let us look at the structure of comparing and contrasting. This is great for decision making. On the one hand, on the other hand. This is a classic structure. On the one hand, the job pays well. On the other hand, the hours are long. This helps you organize complex thoughts. You can also use whereas or while. I like coffee, whereas my husband likes tea. These words show that you can hold two opposing ideas in your mind at the same time. It is a sign of intellectual maturity in a language. I want to talk about the emotional journey of the intermediate learner. There are days when you feel like a genius and days when you feel like a beginner. This roller coaster is normal. Do not judge your overall ability by your worst day. Judge it by your average day. On your bad days, be kind to yourself. Maybe just watch a movie in English with subtitles. That is still practice. On your good days, push yourself. Read a hard article. Speak to a stranger. Ride the waves of your energy. Let us discuss the art of complaining politely. Sometimes you have to return food at a restaurant or complain about a service. This is scary because it is confrontational. The key is to use the word seem. There seems to be a mistake with the bill. This is much better than you made a mistake. It suggests that the mistake just happened objectively. It blames the situation, not the person. I am afraid my soup is cold. I am afraid is a polite softener. It does not mean you are actually scared. It just means you are sorry to have to say something negative. There seems to be a problem. I am afraid this is not what I ordered. These phrases get you what you want without a fight. Let us practice the sound of "theth." This is the other famous difficulty along with R. The TH sound requires you to stick your tongue out between your teeth. Think, that, those. Many students feel silly doing this. They try to keep their tongue inside and it sounds like sink or zat. You have to be willing to look a little bit foolish to sound correct. Stick that tongue out. Force the air past it. Thank you. Throw. Eventually, the muscle memory will take over and you will not have to think about it. But in the beginning, exaggerate it. Now let us look at the concept of shadowing purely for speed. Find a clip of a speaker who speaks fast. Try to keep up with them. It will be messy. You will miss words. You will stumble. That is okay. This is like sprint training for a runner. By trying to go faster than is comfortable, you stretch your capacity. When you go back to normal speed, it will feel slow and easy. Do a 1-minute sprint every day. Just let your mouth move. Do not worry about meaning, just worry about speed. It wakes up the muscles. I want to talk about the importance of context. Sometimes you hear a word you do not know. Do not panic. Look at the context. If I say, the chef chopped the onions with a sharp, and you miss the last word, you can guess it is knife. You do not need to hear every word to understand the sentence. Trust your brain to fill in the gaps. This is how we listen in our native language too. We miss words all the time due to noise or distraction, but we reconstruct the meaning. Trust your reconstruction ability in English too. Let us talk about the difference between make and do. This is a classic confusion. Generally, do is for activities and work. Do homework. Do the dishes. Do a job. Make is for creating or constructing something. Make a cake. Make a plan. Make a decision. Make a mistake. Of course, there are exceptions, but this general rule helps. Are you creating something new? Use make. Are you just performing a task? Use do. Practice this. I need to do some work so I can make some money. Do work. Make money. Let us address the fear of forgetting. You are in the middle of a sentence and the word is gone. It has vanished. We talked about describing the word, but you can also just start the sentence over. Say, let me rephrase that. This gives your brain a reset. It wipes the slate clean. Often the word was blocked because you were trying too hard. When you restart the sentence from a different angle, the word might appear, or you might find a better way to say it without that word. Now, I want to talk about the cultural concept of understatement. In English, especially British English, we often minimize things. If something is terrible, we might say it is not great. If something is amazing, we might say it is not bad. This can be confusing. If someone says your idea is not bad, they might actually mean it is excellent. If they say it is a bit difficult, they might mean it is impossible. Listening for these understatements is a high-level skill. It requires emotional intelligence. Pay attention to the tone and the facial expression, not just the words. Let us practice the structure of recommendations. You want to recommend a book or a restaurant. You can say you should go, but a more natural way is to say you have to go, or you've got to try it. We use have to for strong recommendations. You have to see that movie. It is amazing. It sounds enthusiastic. If you just say you should see it, it sounds like a duty. You have to see it sounds like a pleasure. Use have to when you are excited about something. I want to suggest a habit of daily reflection. At the end of the day, ask yourself, what did I say in English today? Maybe it was nothing. Maybe you just listened. That is fine. But ask yourself, what could I have said? Replay a conversation you had in your native language and imagine how you would have had it in English. This mental rehearsal counts as practice. It builds the neural pathways without the social risk. You are training your brain to be ready. Let us talk about the word get. This is one of the most versatile words in English. It can mean buy. I got a new car. It can mean receive. I got a letter. It can mean become. I got tired. It can mean arrive. I got home. It can mean understand. I get it. Because it is so flexible, native speakers use it all the time. As a learner, you might feel safer using the specific verbs like buy or receive. That is fine. But if you want to sound more casual, try swapping in get. Instead of saying I arrived home late, say I got home late. Instead of saying I became angry, say I got angry. It instantly makes the sentence less formal. Let us move to the topic of agreeing strongly. If you completely agree with someone, do not just say yes. Say absolutely, exactly. I couldn't agree more. Spot on. These words add energy to the conversation. They make the other person feel validated. If you just say yes, it can feel a bit cold. Absolutely is a power word. It shows enthusiasm. Practice saying it with energy. Absolutely. Now let us consider the challenge of multiple speakers. Being in a group of 3 or 4 is exponentially harder than one-on-one. The conversation moves in unpredictable directions. My advice is to pick one person in the group to focus on. Don't try to track everyone at once. Focus on the person who is speaking most clearly, or focus on the person sitting opposite you. Use your body language to stay in the circle. Lean in. Even if you are silent, your body language says, I am here, I am part of this. Let us practice the sound of the letter L. There are 2 L sounds in English. The light L at the start of words like love and light, and the dark L at the end of words like ball and feel. The dark L is made deep in the throat. It is almost a vowel sound. Feel. It is not feel with a click. It is feel. Practice that deep resonant sound. All, call, full. It adds weight and authority to your voice. I want to finish this section by talking about your identity again. You are not a broken version of a native speaker. You are a bilingual or multilingual person. That is a superpower. You have access to more than one way of thinking. You have access to more than one culture. When you speak English, do not feel small. Feel big. You are bridging worlds. Every time you open your mouth to speak a foreign language, you are doing something courageous. We are now going to bring it all together. We are going to talk about mastery. Mastery does not mean knowing every word in the dictionary. Mastery means owning the language. It means that English is no longer something you study, it is something you live. We are going to explore how to be persuasive, how to handle humor and sarcasm, and how to keep your English growing for the rest of your life. Let us start with the art of persuasion. At the B1 and B2 level, you are often just trying to share information. But as you advance, you want to influence people. You want to change their minds. To do this, you need specific tools. One powerful tool is the rhetorical question. This is a question you ask not to get an answer, but to make a point. For example, instead of saying, "This is a good idea," you can say, "Isn't this a great opportunity?" Or instead of saying, "We need to hurry," you can say, "Do we really want to miss this chance?" Rhetorical questions engage the listener's brain. They force the other person to think along with you. Practice turning statements into questions. It makes you sound like a leader. It makes you sound confident. Another persuasion tool is the power of 3. Human brains love the number 3. Lists of 3 sound complete and satisfying. We came. We saw, we conquered. Blood, sweat, and tears. Mind, body, and soul. When you are making a point, try to give 3 reasons or 3 adjectives. This product is cheap, effective, and durable. I am tired, hungry, and bored. The rhythm of 3 makes your speech memorable. It gives it a musical quality that people naturally trust. If you only give 2 reasons, it feels like something is missing. If you give 4, it feels like too much information. 3 is the magic number. Try to use it in your next conversation. Let us talk about a very subtle aspect of fluency, which is the use of adverbs to show attitude. Words like actually, basically, literally, and honestly. These are often called crutch words, but when used correctly, they add flavor. Actually is used to correct a misconception. I actually like the rain. Basically is used to summarize. Basically, we need to start over. Honestly is used to signal vulnerability. Honestly, I am a bit nervous. Literally is used to add emphasis. I was literally dying of laughter. Be careful with literally, though, as some people dislike it when used figuratively. But hearing and using these words in the right spots makes you sound very natural. It smooths out the edges of your sentences. Now I want to address the challenge of sarcasm. English speakers, especially in the UK and Australia, use sarcasm a lot. Sarcasm is saying the opposite of what you mean, usually to be funny or critical. If it is pouring rain and someone says, "Lovely weather, isn't it?" that is sarcasm. If you are late and someone says, "Oh, you are early," that is sarcasm. This is hard for learners because the words are positive, but the meaning is negative. The clue is always in the tone. Sarcasm usually has a flat or exaggerated tone. If you miss the sarcasm, you might agree with something you should not. If you are not sure if someone is being sarcastic, just laugh uncertainly or ask, "Are you joking?" It is safer to check than to misunderstand. Let us move to the concept of active vocabulary expansion. You have a lot of passive vocabulary words you recognize but do not use. To move them to active status, you need to force them into your speech. Pick one word a day. Let us say the word is inevitable. Write it on your hand. Put it on a sticky note on your computer. During the day, try to find a moment to use it. The traffic was inevitable. The delay was inevitable. Change is inevitable. By forcing it 3 or 4 times, it becomes yours forever. You have to hunt for opportunities. You have to be aggressive with your learning. Do not wait for the word to come to you. Go get the word. Let us discuss the passive voice. In school, you are often told to avoid the passive voice, but in real life it is very useful, especially for diplomacy. Active voice is I broke the printer. That blames me. Passive voice is the printer was broken. That blames no one. It just describes the state of the printer. If you are in a difficult situation at work, use the passive voice to avoid pointing fingers. Mistakes were made instead of you made a mistake. The deadline was missed instead of we missed the deadline. It creates a professional distance that can lower stress levels in a conflict. Now I want to talk about the power of gossip. Not mean gossip, but social storytelling. Human beings bond by talking about other people. Did you hear about Sarah? Guess what happened to Tom? Being able to participate in these light social stories is crucial for fitting in. The key phrases here are, guess what, and you won't believe this. These are hooks. They grab attention. Guess what? I saw the boss at the supermarket. You won't believe this. I won the lottery. Practice these hooks. They create suspense. They make people lean in to listen to you. And when people are listening to you, you feel more fluent. Let us look at the structure of comparison. The more, the more. This is a beautiful structure for showing cause and effect. The more I practice, the better I get. The more you eat, the less you want. The harder I work, the luckier I seem. It is a parallel structure that sounds very wise and sophisticated. Practice it. The older I get, the wiser I become. The earlier we leave, the sooner we arrive. It is grammatically slightly complex, but if you learn it as a chunk, it is easy to use. It adds a poetic quality to your speech. I want to talk about the fear of the telephone again, but this time specifically about leaving voicemails. Leaving a voicemail is terrifying because you cannot see the reaction and it is recorded. You have one shot. My advice is to keep it short. Identify yourself. State your reason. Leave your number. Hi, this is Jessica. I am calling to discuss the contract. Please call me back at this number. That is it. Do not ramble. Do not apologize for calling. Just deliver the packet of information and hang up. Practice leaving fake voicemails for yourself. Record them on your phone and listen back. Did you sound clear? Did you sound rush? Adjust and try again. Let us explore the concept of paraphrasing for clarity. Sometimes you explain something and you realize the other person is confused. You need to explain it again, but with different words. Use the phrase, in other words, I am very busy. In other words, I cannot come to the party. The cost is too high. In other words, we cannot afford it. This phrase signals that a simplification is coming. It is a bridge between a complex idea and a simple one. It is a very helpful tool for teaching or leading. Now let us talk about how to accept a compliment. In some cultures, it is polite to deny a compliment. If someone says you are beautiful, you say, oh no, I am ugly. In English-speaking cultures, this can be awkward. The best way to accept a compliment is to simply say thank you. If someone says your English is great, say thank you, I have been working hard on it. Do not say, oh no, it is terrible. That insults the person who gave you the compliment. It implies they have bad judgment. Just accept it. Own it. It is a gift. Say thank you and smile. Let us discuss the idea of cultural literacy. Fluency is not just words. It is understanding the world behind the words. If someone makes a joke about tea in England or baseball in America, and you do not understand the reference, you might feel lost. You cannot learn every cultural reference, but you can stay curious. If you hear a reference you do not know, ask about it. Who is that character? What is that show? People love explaining their culture. It makes them feel like experts. Asking cultural questions is a great way to build friendship. It shows you care about their world, not just their language. I want to talk about the physical environment of your learning. If you always study at a desk, English feels like work. Try to study in comfortable places. Listen to this podcast in the bath. Read a book in the park. Talk to yourself while walking in nature. When you associate English with relaxation, your body stops fighting it. Your cortisol levels drop. Your brain opens up. Make English a part of your leisure, not just your labor. Let us look at the grammar of deduction. Must be and can't be. When you are guessing about a situation, use these modals. The lights are on, so he must be home. He is not answering, so he must be busy. That can't be true because I saw him yesterday. This is how we play detective in English. We use logic to build a picture. Practice looking at people and guessing. She is running, so she must be late. He is smiling, so he must be happy. It is a fun game that builds your modal verb skills. Now I want to address the fear of long pauses. We talked about pausing to think. But what about when the pause stretches too long and becomes awkward? If this happens, you can break the tension with a comment on the silence itself. You can say, well, that gave me time to think, or a penny for your thoughts, or simply asking a new question. So what are your plans for the weekend? Do not let the silence drown you. You are the captain of the ship. Steer it to new waters. Let us talk about the difference between standard English and regional dialects. You might learn standard English and then visit Scotland or Texas and understand nothing. This is not your fault. Dialects can be very different. If you encounter a strong dialect, do not panic. Tune your ear to the vowels. Vowels change the most. Also, watch the lips, and do not be afraid to say, I am not from here. Could you speak a little standard English, please? Most people can switch codes if you ask them politely. Let us practice the sound of the letter V. V requires your top teeth to touch your bottom lip. V. Very. Van. Vampire. It is a buzzy sound. If you are a Spanish speaker, be careful not to make it a B sound. It is not berry, it is very. Feel the vibration on your lip. If your lip tickles, you are doing it right. Practice the sentence very valid value. V. It wakes up your face. I want to talk about the power of summarizing meetings or conversations. At the end of a chat, it is very powerful to say, so it was great catching up. You are going to Spain and I am starting a new job. Let us talk again soon. This recap solidifies the memory for both of you. It shows you were listening. It brings closure. It is like tying a bow on a present. It makes the interaction feel complete. Let us explore the concept of future pacing. This is imagining your future success. I want you to imagine yourself 1 year from now. You are fluent. You are comfortable. You are cracking jokes in English. How does that version of you walk? How does that version of you breathe? Carry yourself like that version today. Fake it until you make it. If you walk with confidence, your brain assumes you have a reason to be confident. Your physiology drives your psychology. Now, I want to talk about the trap of comparison. Do not compare your Chapter 5 to someone else's Chapter 20. You might meet someone who's been living in the U.S. for 10 years. Do not compare your English to theirs. It is unfair to you. Compare yourself only to yourself yesterday. Did you learn one new phrase today? Then you won. That is the only game that matters, the game of self-improvement. Let us discuss the art of declining invitations. Saying no is hard. Saying no in English is harder. You do not want to be rude. The formula is thank, reject, excuse. Thank you for the invite. I cannot make it. I have a prior engagement. Thank you for asking, but I am busy that night. This formula protects the relationship. It shows you appreciate the offer even if you cannot accept it. Never just say no. That is too harsh. Always wrap the no in softness. I want to talk about the word interesting. This is a very useful word. If someone says something you do not agree with or you think is strange, you can just say, "That is interesting." It is non-committal. It does not mean good and it does not mean bad. It just means worthy of note. It is a great shield. You can hide behind the word interesting while you decide what you really think. Let us practice the sound of the short I versus the long E again, because it is so important. Sit versus seat, fit versus feet, hit versus heat. The short I is relaxed. Your face is neutral. E, H. The long E is tense. You are smiling. E. Practice switching. Sit, seat, fit, feet. This distinction is one of the clearest markers of a good accent. If you master this, you sound instantly more professional. Now I want to talk about reading for pleasure. Do not just read textbooks. Read trashy novels. Read comic books. Read blogs about cooking. Read things that you would read in your native language. When you enjoy the content, you forget that you are reading English. You enter the flow state. The language becomes a window, not a wall. You are looking through the glass at the story. That is when real acquisition happens. When you forget, you are learning. Let us look at the structure of expressing preference. I would rather, then. I would rather stay home than go out. I would rather eat pizza than salad. This shows a choice. It is stronger than I prefer. I would rather implies a specific decision in this moment. Practice it. Would you rather fly or drive? I would rather drive. It is a great conversation starter, too. Would you rather be rich or famous? It gets people talking. I want to finish this section with a reminder about your why. Why are you learning English? Is it for money? For love? For travel? For freedom? Keep that why in front of you. When the grammar gets hard, when the vocabulary is overwhelming, look at your why. It will pull you through. Your desire must be stronger than your fear. And I know it is, because you are here. You are listening. You are doing the work. We are continuing straight into the next block of our training because your momentum is high and we want to capitalize on that. We are going to talk about the nuance of time, the power of negative questions, and how to handle taboo topics. Let us start with time. We often use vague time expressions in English: in a bit, in a while, soonish, later on. These are not precise. In a bit could mean 5 minutes or 5 hours. This vagueness is actually a social tool. It allows for flexibility. If you say I will be there in a bit, you are not promising a specific minute. Learn to be comfortable with this ambiguity. Do not demand exact times from friends. Flow with the rhythm. I will see you later on. I will do it in a while. It feels relaxed. It feels native. Now let us look at negative questions. These are questions that start with a negative word. Haven't you eaten yet? Didn't you like the movie? These questions usually imply surprise or they expect a yes answer. Haven't you eaten yet implies I am surprised you are still hungry. Didn't you like the movie implies I thought the movie was good, didn't you? These are tricky to answer. If you have not eaten, you say no, I haven't. If you liked the movie, you say, "Yes, I did." The answer follows the fact, not the grammar of the question. If the answer is positive, say yes. If the answer is negative, say no. Do not get tangled in the logic. Just look at the reality. Did you eat? No. Then the answer is no. Let us talk about taboo topics. In some cultures, talking about money or politics or religion is fine. In English-speaking cultures specifically, the UK and US money is often a taboo topic. You rarely ask someone how much is your salary. You rarely ask how much did your house cost. It is considered private. Politics is also dangerous territory unless you know the person well. If you bring up these topics and people get quiet, change the subject. Talk about travel. Talk about food. Talk about hobbies. These are the safe zones. Navigating these social landmines is part of being fluent. I want to talk about the power of the word just. I am just looking. I just wanted to ask. I am just tired. Just is a minimizer. It makes things smaller and softer. I am just looking means do not pressure me to buy. I just wanted to ask means my question is small. Using just makes you sound polite and undemanding. It is a very common word in customer service and daily interactions. Use it to soften your requests. I just need a minute. I just have one question. Let us explore the concept of self-correction. If you make a mistake while speaking, you have a choice. You can ignore it or you can fix it. If it is a small grammar mistake that does not change the meaning, ignore it. Keep the flow. If it is a mistake that changes the meaning, fix it. I said he is my husband, I mean my brother. That is a big difference. Fix that. But if you said he go instead of he goes, let it go, the listener understood. Flow is king. Do not sacrifice the flow for minor details. Now I want to talk about the importance of body language in listening. We listen with our whole bodies. If you cross your arms, you look closed off. If you lean back, you look uninterested. To be a fluent listener, open your chest, lean forward, keep your hands visible. This signals openness. It invites the other person to speak more. And the more they speak, the more you learn. You are creating a channel for English to flow towards you. Let us practice the sound of the ending. Ing, running, walking, thinking. Many learners drop the G and say run in or walk in. This is actually very common in casual native speech. It is not wrong in a casual setting, but in a formal setting, you want to hit that sound. It is a nasal sound. It rings in your nose. Ring, sing, king. Practice holding that sound. Sing. It helps to clear your nasal passages. It makes your voice resonant. I want to talk about the idea of adopting a persona. When you speak English, you can be a slightly different version of yourself. Maybe your English persona is a bit louder. Maybe it is a bit more polite. Maybe it is a bit more direct. Use this as a mask. If you are shy, be an actor playing the role of a confident English speaker. This psychological trick can bypass your social anxiety. You are not being judged. Your character is performing. Let us look at the structure of expressing probability. It is likely that. It is unlikely that. There is a good chance that. These are better than just saying maybe. There is a good chance it will rain. It is unlikely he will come. This sounds very analytical and precise. It shows you have weighed the odds. Practice making predictions. It is likely I will have coffee tomorrow. It is unlikely I will win the lottery. It grounds your speech in reality. I want to finish this block with a focus on patience. Learning a language is like growing a tree. You cannot see it growing day by day. You water it. You give it sun. You wait. But under the ground, the roots are spreading. One day you will look up and realize you have a massive tree of knowledge. Do not dig up the seed to see if it is growing. Trust the process. Trust your brain. You are built to learn languages. It is your birthright as a human being. We are going to use this final session to polish the rough edges of your English. We are going to look at how to exit conversations gracefully, how to use the causative grammar structure properly, and how to vary your vocabulary so you do not sound repetitive. We are going to turn you into a speaker who not only communicates, but who communicates with style. Let us start with a very practical social skill, how to end a conversation. This is often harder than starting one. You are talking to someone at a party or a networking event, and the conversation has run out of energy. You want to leave, but you do not want to be rude. You cannot just walk away. You need a transition phrase. The best one is, "Well, I won't keep you." This implies that you are doing them a favor by letting them go. It is very polite. You can also say, "It was lovely catching up with you. I should probably go and say hello to some other people." Or simply, "I better get going, but let us speak again soon." These phrases act like a gentle handshake at the end of the chat. They signal that the interaction is over, but the relationship is still good. Practice saying, "Well, I won't keep you." It works in almost every situation. Now, I want to talk about a grammar point that many B2 learners get wrong: the causative. This is when you pay someone else to do something for you. If you go to the salon, you do not say, "I cut my hair." If you say, "I cut my hair," it means you took the scissors and did it yourself. You should say, "I had my hair cut," or "I got my hair cut." This distinction is important. If you say, "I repaired my car," people will think you are a mechanic. If you say, "I had my car repaired," people know you went to a garage. The structure is have, plus the object, plus the past participle. I had my house painted, I had my eyes tested, I had my watch fixed. Practice this structure. It shows that you understand how the world works and how to describe services accurately. Let us discuss the trap of the word very. Very good, very bad, very happy, very sad. Using very all the time makes your English sound basic. It is not wrong, but it is boring. We want to upgrade your vocabulary. Instead of very good, say excellent or superb or fantastic. Instead of very bad, say terrible or awful or dreadful. Instead of very happy, say thrilled or delighted. Instead of very sad, say devastated or heartbroken. These words carry more emotional weight. They paint a brighter picture. If you say, "I was thrilled to get the job," it sounds much more passionate than "I was very happy to get the job." Try to catch yourself when you are about to say very and swap it for a stronger adjective. I want to talk about the concept of euphemisms. English speakers often avoid saying unpleasant things directly. We do not usually say someone died. We say they passed away. We do not say I was fired. We say I was let go. We do not say the toilet. We say the restroom or the bathroom or the loo. Learning these soft words helps you navigate sensitive topics without causing offense. It is part of the cultural code of politeness. If you are too direct about death or bodily functions, you might shock people. Listen to how native speakers dance around these topics and try to mimic their softness. Let us look at word stress in two-syllable words. This is a fascinating feature of English. Many words can be a noun or a verb depending on the stress. Take the word record. If the stress is on the first syllable, record, it is a noun like a vinyl record or a written record. If the stress is on the second syllable record, it is a verb meaning to tape something. I will record the record. Hear the difference. Another example is present. Present is a gift. Present is to show. I will present the present. Object is a thing. Object is to disagree. Getting this stress right is a sign of advanced fluency. It shows you have a deep feeling for the rhythm of the grammar. Now let us talk about the art of storytelling pacing. When you tell a story, do not rush to the end. Build the suspense. Use the word suddenly. I was walking down the street and suddenly, pause, I saw an elephant. That pause is crucial. It makes the listener wait. It creates a moment of tension. You can also use the phrase, "You are never going to believe this." Or here is the funny part. These phrases act like signposts telling the listener how to feel. They guide the emotional journey. If you just list facts, the story is flat. If you guide the emotion, the story is a mountain. I want to address the fear of accents again, but specifically your own regional identity. You do not need to sound American or British. You can sound like a French speaker of English or a Chinese speaker of English. That is a valid identity. The goal is intelligibility, not disguise. Do not waste energy trying to hide where you are from. Use that energy to make your message clear. Your accent is the flavor of your voice. It makes you unique. Some of the most charismatic speakers in the world speak with strong accents. It does not stop them from being leaders. It does not stop them from being heard. Own your voice. Let us talk about the phrase used to again, but compare it to be used to and get used to. We establish that used to is for the past. I used to smoke. Be used to means you are accustomed to it. I am used to the noise. It is not a problem for me. Get used to means the process of adaptation. I am getting used to the cold weather. It is happening now. Mastering these three forms gives you total control over describing your habits and your adaptations. I used to hate coffee, but now I am used to it. In fact, I got used to it very quickly. See how they work together. Practice sentences that combine them. Now I want to talk about the power of consumption. You become what you consume. If you only read textbooks, you will sound like a textbook. If you watch reality TV, you will sound like a reality star. If you listen to news, you will sound like a reporter. Curate your input. Choose sources that sound like the person you want to become. If you want to sound professional, listen to business podcasts. If you want to sound chill, listen to surfer interviews. You are programming your brain. Be a selective programmer. Let us discuss the idea of active waiting. When you are listening to someone and waiting for your turn to speak, do not just wait blankly. Prepare your transition. If they are talking about food, you can prepare a sentence like, "Speaking of food, have you tried that new place?" The phrase "speaking of" is a bridge. It connects their topic to your topic. Speaking of travel, speaking of work, speaking of family, it makes your change of subject feel smooth and natural rather than abrupt. It shows you are listening to the theme even if you want to change the specific subject. I want to talk about the conditional of regret. Again, the third conditional. If I had known. Native speakers often slur this to "if I'd known." The had becomes a tiny D sound. If I'd known, if I'd seen, if I'd been, listen for that D. It changes the meaning completely. If I know is present. If I'd known is past impossible. That tiny sound carries a huge grammatical load. Train your ear to catch it, and train your mouth to produce it. If I'd. It is quick and subtle. Let us explore the vocabulary of size. Big and small are fine, but huge, massive, enormous, tiny, microscopic, petite are better. Using a range of size words adds dimension to your descriptions. A massive problem, a tiny detail, an enormous success, a microscopic error. These words create a sense of scale. They make your English feel 3D. Try to describe your house using extreme size words. My kitchen is tiny, but my living room is massive. It is much more interesting than my kitchen is small and my living room is big. Now let us talk about the skill of clarifying questions. If someone asks you a vague question, do not try to answer it immediately. Ask them to narrow it down. If they ask, "Do you like music?" say yes, but what kind of music do you mean? Or that is a broad question, can you be more specific? This buys you time and it ensures you give a relevant answer. It also makes you sound intelligent. You are analyzing the question, not just reacting to it. I want to suggest a habit of daily narration. As you walk down the street, narrate what you see in your head. A tall man is walking a small dog. The bus is stopping. The leaves are falling. The sky is gray. This keeps your vocabulary active. It connects the English words to the physical reality around you. It stops you from translating because you are looking directly at the object and naming it in English. You are bypassing your native language. This is the definition of thinking in English. Let us talk about the difference between say and tell. This is a classic headache. Generally, you say something, but you tell someone. I said hello. I told him hello. You tell a story, you say a word, you tell the truth, you say a prayer. Tell usually needs a person after it. Tell me, tell her, tell us. Say does not. Say it, say that. Practice this pair. He told me that he said no. He told me, he said. Keep them separate in your mind. Tell is directional, it goes to a person. Say is broadcast, it just goes out into the air. Now I want to talk about the concept of emotional resilience in language learning. You will have days where you feel stupid, days where you cannot understand a simple sentence, days where you say the wrong word and everyone laughs. This is not failure. This is the price of entry. To learn a language, you have to be willing to be a fool. You have to have a thick skin. Laugh at yourself. If you make a mistake, say, "Wow, that was creative English." Own your mess. The moment you laugh at yourself, you take the power away from the embarrassment. You become invincible. Let us look at the structure of preferences with prefer. I prefer coffee to tea. Note the preposition to. We do not say, "I prefer coffee than tea." We say to. I prefer walking to driving. I prefer summer to winter. It is a small detail, but it screams fluency. Using then is a common mistake. Using to shows, the specific pattern of the verb prefer. I want to talk about the use of get as a passive voice maker. We talked about get used to, but we also say get fired, get married, get divorced, get lost. These are changes of state. They are dynamic. I got tired is an event. I was tired is a state. Get implies action. Get implies movement. Use get when you want to tell a story about how things changed. We got lost in the city. It sounds like an adventure. We were lost sounds like a static fact. Let us discuss the art of the compliment return. If someone compliments you, you can also compliment them back. I like your shoes. Thanks, I like your jacket too. This is called reciprocation. It builds a bond. It turns a one-way transaction into a two-way exchange. You do not have to lie, but find something genuine to praise. Thanks, I appreciate that coming from you. That is a very high-level response. It implies that you respect their opinion. Now let us talk about the word actually again. We use it to correct people softly. If someone says, "You are from France, right?" you can say, "Actually, I am from Belgium." It softens the correction. It is much better than saying, "No, I am from Belgium." Actually acts as a cushion. It absorbs the shock of the error. Use it whenever you need to adjust the facts without making the other person feel stupid. I want to talk about the sound of the letter H. In some languages, H is silent. In English, it is usually aspirated. Happy, house, hello. You should feel a puff of air on your hand. If you drop the H and say "appy house ello," it sounds very casual or dialectal. In standard English, hit that H. It gives energy to the word. There are exceptions like hour and honest where the H is silent, but for the most part, breathe it out. Let us explore the vocabulary of textures: rough, smooth, sticky, slippery, soft, hard. Describing how things feel is a great way to expand your descriptive powers. The situation is sticky. The transition was smooth. The problem is hard. We use these texture words metaphorically all the time. A slippery character, a rough day. Learn the physical meaning first, then apply it to abstract concepts. It makes your English poetic. Now I want to talk about the concept of chunking for memory. Do not try to memorize lists of random words. Memorize phrases. Do not memorize interest. Memorize "I am interested in." Do not memorize "afraid." Memorize "I am afraid of." Learning the preposition with the adjective is crucial. If you learn them together, you will never make the mistake of saying "I am afraid from." You will just know it is afraid of, because that is the chunk. Your brain loves patterns. Feed it patterns, not pieces. Let us talk about the phrase "I wonder." This is a beautiful way to ask questions without asking questions. I wonder if it will rain. I wonder where he is. I wonder what time it is. It is a reflective statement. It invites an answer but does not demand one. It makes you sound thoughtful and dreamy. Use it when you are thinking out loud. I wonder if we should order pizza. It is a soft suggestion. I want to address the issue of translation apps. They are amazing tools, but they can be crutches. If you look up every word, you never force your brain to work. Try to guess the meaning from context first. Only use the app if you are completely stuck. And if you use the app, look at the example sentences, not just the translation. See how the word lives in a sentence. Treat the app as a last resort, not a first step. Let us look at the structure of similarity. Just as, so too. Just as I love coffee, so too does my brother. This is very formal and literary, but it is impressive. A simpler version is just like me, he loves coffee. Use comparison to explain things. It tastes just like chicken. It looks just like my old house. Comparison is a primary way we make sense of the world. Master the language of likeness. Now I want to talk about the feeling of being overwhelmed. You are listening to this and there is so much information. You feel like your head is full. That is good. That means you are stretching. But do not try to remember everything consciously. Your subconscious is recording everything. Just let the words wash over you. Trust that the important parts will stick. You do not have to hold on tight. Just float in the river of language. Let us discuss the word mind. It is a noun and a verb. I have a lot on my mind. Do you mind if I sit here? I don't mind. Make up your mind. Lose your mind. This word is central to English psychology. Do you mind means, does it bother you? I don't mind means, it does not bother me. It is the polite way to ask for permission. Do you mind if I open the window? No, I don't mind. Practice this interaction. It is the gold standard of politeness. I want to talk about the sound of the letter P. In English, P is explosive. Put your hand in front of your mouth and say, pen. You should feel a blast of air. If you say ben, you feel less air. This difference between P and B is crucial. If you do not explode the P, people might hear B. Pack versus back, pear versus bear. Pop the P. Make it percussive. It adds clarity and rhythm to your speech. Let us look at the vocabulary of speed. Fast and slow are basic. Rapid, swift, sluggish, gradual are better. A rapid change, a gradual decline, a sluggish economy, a swift response. These words describe the quality of the movement, not just the speed. Using them shows precision. It shows you are observing the world closely. Now, I want to talk about the concept of linguistic personality. You might be a joker in your native language but serious in English, or shy in your native language but loud in English. This is normal. A new language allows you to reinvent yourself. You can choose who you want to be in English. If you want to be more assertive, practice assertive phrases. If you want to be more gentle, practice gentle phrases. You are designing a character. Have fun with the design process. Let us talk about the phrase, it depends. This is the answer to almost every difficult question. How long does it take to learn English? It depends. It depends on your effort. It depends on your time. It depends on your background. It is a great way to start a complex answer. It buys you time to list the factors. It shows you, understand that the world is not black and white. It depends is a sign of wisdom. I want to finish this section by reminding you of the compound effect. Small actions over time create massive results. Listening to this podcast for 20 minutes a day is better than studying for 5 hours once a month. It is the drip, drip, drip of water that cuts through the stone. You are the water. The language barrier is the stone. You will cut through it, not by force, but by persistence. Keep dripping. Keep listening. We are entering the final phases of our training now. The finish line is just a concept. The journey is the reality. Let us talk about the nuance of apologies. In English, we say sorry for everything. We say sorry if we bump into someone. We say sorry if we don't hear someone. We say sorry if it rains. But there are different levels. My bad is casual. I apologize is formal. I am so sorry is emotional. If you make a small mistake with a friend, say my bad. If you make a mistake at work, say I apologize. Matching the apology to the situation is key. You do not want to say my bad to your boss after losing a client. And you do not want to say I formally apologize to your friend for spilling a drop of water. Context is everything. Let us talk about the word really again, but as an intensifier, it is really hot. He is really nice. It is a common word, but try to swap it for absolutely or incredibly. It is absolutely hot. He is incredibly nice. These words sound more educated. They show a wider range of vocabulary. Also try totally. I totally agree. It is casual but emphatic. I want to talk about the grammar of advice. You should. You ought to. You had better. You should is the standard advice. You ought to is a bit more moral or formal. You had better is a warning. You had better leave now or you will miss the bus. It implies a negative consequence. Be careful with you had better. It can sound like a threat. You had better do your homework. Use it only when there is a real danger of a bad result. For friendly advice, stick to you should, or why don't you? Let us discuss the concept of mirroring energy. If someone is speaking slowly and sadly, do not speak fast and happily. It creates a disconnect. Bring your energy down to match theirs. Then slowly bring it up if you want to cheer them up. This is emotional intelligence. Language is the carrier wave for emotion. If the waves are out of sync, the message gets lost. Tune into the frequency of the room. I want to talk about the phrase strictly speaking. This is used to be technically accurate. Strictly speaking, a tomato is a fruit, but we treat it as a vegetable. This phrase allows you to show off your knowledge without being annoying. It acknowledges the difference between technical truth and practical truth. Strictly speaking, we should wait, but let's go. It is a very useful rhetorical device. Let us look at the vocabulary of sounds: crash, bang, whisper, murmur, screech. English has many onomatopoeic words, words that sound like what they describe. The car screeched to a halt. The wind howled. The leaves rustled. Using these sound words brings your stories to life. It engages the auditory cortex of the listener. They can hear your story, not just understand it. Now, I want to talk about the fear of idioms again. If you hear an idiom you do not know, do not panic. Usually the context tells you. If someone says he is barking up the wrong tree and they look frustrated, you know it means he is making a mistake. Do not get hung up on the literal dog and tree. Look at the emotion. Idioms are just metaphors for feelings. If you understand the feeling, you understand the idiom. Let us talk about the structure of despite. Despite the rain, we went out. Despite being tired, he worked. Note that despite is followed by a noun or an ing verb. We do not say despite of, we say in spite of. These two mean the same thing, but the grammar is slightly different. Despite the rain, in spite of the rain. Pick one and master it. Despite is shorter and cleaner. Despite the challenges, I am learning English. I want to talk about the value of subtitles. Watching movies with English subtitles is great, but eventually you need to turn them off. Subtitles train your reading, not your listening. You become a fast reader, not a fast listener. Try watching a scene with subtitles, then watch it again without. See what your ears can catch the second time. Trust your ears. They are capable of much more than you think. Let us discuss the word appreciate. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. This is a stronger thank you. It means I recognize the value of what you did. Use it with colleagues. I appreciate your help. Use it with friends. I appreciate you listening to me. It is a word that builds bridges. It makes people feel seen. Now, I want to talk about the future perfect. Will have done. By next year, I will have learned English. By 5 p.m., I will have finished the report. This tense looks forward to a point where the action is finished. It is great for setting goals. It visualizes the completion. Practice saying, by this time next year, I will have visited London. It plants a flag in the future. I want to finish this entire training with a thought on identity. You are not just learning English, you are becoming a global citizen. You are joining a conversation that spans the planet. Every word you learn is a ticket to that conversation. You belong here. Your voice matters. Thank you so much for listening to this extensive daily fluency training. If you found this session helpful and you want to continue this journey towards smooth, stress-free English, please subscribe to the channel. Like this video so I know you want more content like this. And tell me in the comments what is one situation where you feel the most stress speaking English. Let us talk about it and support each other. I am Jessica, and this is English in Advance. Keep practicing, keep listening, and keep flowing. Goodbye for now.